Hello, my name is Richard Parker, and throughout this documentary, I'm going to be looking at the deep history of Plymouth, throughout the war, throughout its regeneration, and throughout its whole history, using photography and archives to bring the past to life. This is Plymouth, a city rich in history, whether it's the sailing of the Mayflower, the destruction of World War II, or Sir Francis Drake defeating the Spanish Armada. Much of Plymouth's history can be linked to the sea, or to the naval presence at Her Majesty's Naval Base Devonport, Western Europe's largest operating naval base. Today I've come to visit Plymouth and West Devon Record Office, also known as the Archives, to meet Community Engagement Officer Tony Davey. Hopefully Tony will be able to help me with some of my research. Why is it actually important to actually keep all these records in the archives?
Well, I think what the archives do is they provide identity. So they give the city an identity.
Who are the archives actually for?
They're for the people of Plymouth. They're public. So everything that you see here are open to the public to come and view at any times, and you can see things from dated 1190 through to the present day.
Okay, so is that 1190 the oldest thing in here?
It is indeed, yes. Yeah, so we've got some 900 years of Plymouth history.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, what kind of size is the archives here, and what kind of content is stored?
Okay, well there are approximately 500,000 individual items here, covering 2 miles of shelving, if you were to lay the shelving out side by side. Okay, a good example of charting the city's identity, and one of our more popular items is what's called the bomb book. And this is the bomb book here. This is a series of maps that show the air raids on the city from 1940 through to 43.
Plymouth was one of the main targets for the German bombing during the Second World War. The Germans strategically bombed the city in an attempt to gain tactical advantage over the Navy in the Battle of the Atlantic.
I'll just give you an example. This is one evening on what was one of the heaviest nights of bombing on the 21st of March 1941, and you can see each red dot represents a bomb falling on the city. But this is a very powerful document in that every time you turn a page you see lots of dots, each dot representing bomb on the city. So that should never be forgotten, and what people of Plymouth went through, and how not only what they went through but how they were resilient and then rebuilt the city post-war is quite incredible, and this book really signals that.
The war devastated Plymouth, and despite the strategic nature of the bombings, 1,172 civilians were killed, over 4,000 people injured, and the city was reduced to rubble.
And here we have St Andrew's Church, which was completely torn apart during the war, and then reopened in 1949 after the war. And as a key point, above the door they've got Resurgam, which is Latin for I shall rise again.
As you can see, Devon's largest parish church was almost completely destroyed by the raids. But, miraculously, the tower was left standing, and within it the bells were completely undamaged. Another hard-hit area of Plymouth was Devonport, obviously due to its shared location with the naval base.
And here we have the Forum building, originally a cinema but now been a bingo hall for over 50 years now.
Opening in 1939, the Forum was a cinema on the Fore Street of Devonport, and remained open during the war, somehow avoiding being destroyed by the German bombs. Following the war, the naval base expanded, causing much of the population of Devonport to move to newer estates. Devonport is currently being rejuvenated with new housing and will hopefully return to the bustling community that it was in the pre-war years. As you can see by the two pictures, the main foreign building still remains muchly the same, just with a few cosmetic changes on the front and the signage. With so much damage during the war, Plymouth needed to be completely rebuilt. The council brought in Sir Patrick Abercrombie to redesign the city. This became the plan for Plymouth. It was because of the plan that we have Plymouth's unique architecture, and despite the criticism, Plymouth has the largest number of post-war listed buildings in Britain outside of London.
This is probably the spot where the photo was taken. There's a giant sundial there now. Some of the other kind of major differences is the trees behind us blocking the view.
As you can see, most of the architecture is still the same, even down to the 4 telephone boxes. My final stop is one of Plymouth's most historic and popular areas, the Barbican. Steeped in maritime history, the Barbican has seen many famous explorers set out to sea. The list includes Charles Darwin, James Cook, the Pilgrim Fathers, and most famously, Sir Francis Drake. However, the main focus of the image is the old watch house, which stands on the far left of the image. Little was known about this building, except it was built in the late 18th century and was both used by the police and customs. Knocked down in February 1933, this building certainly shows that there have been changes to the Barbican over the years. But, looking at the majority of the area, it still remains relatively similar to previous years. Having looked back at Plymouth over the past 150 years, it's clear that the city has a unique historical charm. Whether it's the relatively new city centre, the bombed out ruins of Charles Cross, or the historical and unchanged Barbican. However, it is clear Plymouth is still changing, and with new buildings appearing and plans for further modernisation, it does leave me wondering, what will these images look like in 100 years' time?